This is China and beyond. A 5-day tour package covering Hanoi and Ha Long Bay in Vietnam and Guangzhou in China. Hanoi is the capital of Vietnam, the seat of its history and culture. Ha Long Bay is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a watery kingdom of islands, caverns, and dramatic seascapes. Guangzhou is the largest city in southern China and the home of Cantonese cuisine, a place to find both wildlife and wild spectacle. The journey starts and ends in Guangzhou, China. Upon arrival, the group takes a connecting flight to Hanoi, Vietnam. An overnight stay in Hanoi will be followed by a coach journey to Ha Long City. The group will then travel back to Hanoi to catch a return flight to Guangzhou. Hanoi is one of the world's fastest growing cities. But this booming hub of modernity is steeped in ancient history. After all, Hanoi has stood as the capital of Vietnam for some 1,000 years. The Old Quarter, located by Hoan Kiem Lake, is a place to revisit Hanoi's recent and not so recent past.
Hello, hi.
The solemn Soviet-like mausoleum of Ho Chi Minh is the resting place for its most revered national leader. The mausoleum looms over Ba Dinh Square, where Ho Chi Minh made his famous proclamation of independence in 1945. Vietnamese citizens, including soldiers, come to the mausoleum to pay their respects to the great leader, whose embalmed body is displayed within. Just a short walk away is the Presidential Palace, a 100-year-old French colonial building in the Beaux-Arts style. When Ho Chi Minh became president, he refused to live in the palace and instead lived and worked in the servants' quarters located on the grounds behind the palace. Ho Chi Minh liked to say that he had no office but would work outside in the garden, retreating to his rooms only when it got too cold. Ho Chi Minh later had a Vietnamese-style stilt house built for him within the palace gardens. The simple wooden dwelling illustrates Ho Chi Minh's personality better than the grandiosity of the mausoleum. Those curious about him may visit the Ho Chi Minh Museum, a large building designed to evoke the form of a white lotus. Here's another building meant to evoke a lotus flower, One Pillar Pagoda, a temple to the Buddhist goddess of mercy. The original was built in the 11th century after the emperor had a dream about a bodhisattva seated upon a lotus flower. The journey to the past continues with a visit to the Temple of Literature, a garden complex dedicated to the teachings of Confucius. The temple was founded in 1070 AD to house Kuok Tu Giam, or Imperial Academy, which was the country's first university. The temple complex is a labyrinth of ornate rooms and hallways. Visitors can find a series of altars dedicated to Confucius and his disciples. One grandiose altar is dedicated to Chu Van An, who was a rector at the Imperial Academy and a teacher to the Crown Prince Vuong. The temple houses a collection of stone turtles, animals beloved to the Vietnamese. Local students have been known to touch the heads of the turtles, hoping this will bring them luck in school. But the practice is frowned upon, for touching the turtles will surely harm them over time. Another much venerated sculpture shows a crane balanced on the shell of a turtle, a symbol of the harmony between heaven and earth. People sometimes touch this turtle's head as well. A better way to seek blessing is to light joss sticks at this incense pot guarded over by dragons. Perhaps the wisdom of Confucius will be granted to you, and you can leave the Temple of Literature bearing the gifts of knowledge and enlightenment. Others may simply seek to eat, drink, and be merry. Fortunately for them, it's lunchtime. There's canchoatom, hot and sour soup with shrimp, and a number of other Vietnamese dishes. The meal is accompanied by a little light music. After lunch, it's off to Ha Long City, some 165 kilometers east of Hanoi. The journey takes around 3.5 hours. The hotel of choice is Novotel Ha Long, a hotel on the beachfront facing Ha Long Bay. After the long road trip, the inviting guest room and complimentary bottle of wine are dearly welcome. Located right by the rich fishing waters of Ha Long Bay, the Novotel naturally offers an extensive seafood buffet. Guests can select raw items to be grilled on demand. Meat and vegetable dishes are also available. Don't forget to leave room for dessert. It's a great dining experience and a fine way to end the day. Morning arrives. The bay appears almost sleepy. You can even meditate to the rhythmic lapping of the waves. Then the city begins to awaken. And eager guests head to the waterfront, where an old-fashioned junk awaits. Everyone gets on board and the cruise begins. Guests are in high spirits, buoyed by the delightful vista of mist-shrouded rock forms looming above the rippling waters. These rock formations are called karsts. They are limestone outcrops eroded by wind and water over millions of years into the dizzying array of shapes and sizes seen today. Including the twin towers that are romantically named the Kissing Rocks. Local legends spin a different tale of the Jade Emperor of Heaven sending a mother dragon and her dragon children to help the Vietnamese fight off an invasion. From the dragon's mouth fell magic pearls that crashed into the sea and turned into rocks, destroying the invading fleet. The name Ha Long is Vietnamese for the descending dragon. Wherever they came from, a staggering 3,000 karst islands dot the waters of the bay. No cruise can hope to visit all of them, but this one ventures on to the island of Dao Go. Landfall begins with a climb of 90 steps leading to the Cave of Wonders. Midway, there's a pause to catch breath and take in the view of the natural harbor formed within the islands. This is gives the underworld setting the air of a journey through fairyland. From the Cave of Wonders, the group heads to one of the 4 fishing villages within the bay. The floating villages are supported by mariculture farms that breed fish for export to China and Japan. This grouper, or move as the Vietnamese call it, may be headed for some businessman's dinner table. With perked up appetites, lunch is served on board. And as expected, fresh seafood is on the menu. Along with fried spring rolls or nem ran. After lunch, it's back to Hanoi for a rest and a flight to Guangzhou the next day. But first, a visit to Dong Xuan Market in the old quarter of Hanoi. It's a place to shop for embroidered goods, accessories, and much stranger things. For dinner, the group goes to Sen Tai Ho, a restaurant popular for its buffet. Sen Tai Ho offers many staples of Vietnamese cuisine, including goi quan, or fresh spring rolls, nem ran, or fried spring rolls, pho, bún chả, seafood, and even something called chan jiao Philippine, fried trotter Philippine style. Dinner is followed by a show at the Chimelong Water Puppet Theater. The puppets dance, go fishing, ride horses, and play with fire. It's all in Vietnamese, but the foreign audience seems to appreciate it. After the show, guests retire to their rooms in the Movenpick Hotel to rest up for the last leg of the trip. This boutique hospitality chain, Movenpick Hotels and Resorts. Day 4 finds the group in Guangzhou, China. Its strategic location on the Pearl River led it to become the booming industrial city it is today. Most visitors associate Guangzhou with Chinese food. The city was historically known as Canton, where the Cantonese-style dim sum that is now eaten all over the world originated. So, visiting a Cantonese dim sum restaurant is a definite must. The group is served fried spring rolls, lo mien, Chinese dumplings, hot stickers, sesame seed balls, and radish cake. Everyone enjoys a fill of the real Cantonese cuisine. Then it's on to the next stop, the Chimelong Wildlife Zoo. This place has been called the biggest wildlife park in Asia. It covers an area of some 1 million square meters divided into a walk-through and drive-through section. The group takes the safari train. It's a great way to get close to the animals. They're not very shy around people. The more aggressive animals are kept at a distance. These include rare white tigers. Chimelong is home to over 100 white tigers, the largest collection in the world. Of course, no Chinese zoo is complete without giant pandas. This panda appears quite hungry, and he's not the only one. us for dinner at the White Tiger restaurant. While dining, you get to watch white tigers prowling inside an atrium. Pink flamingos add a bit of color to the proceedings. A different spectacle is about to start. This is the Chimelong International Circus. It is the largest permanent circus in the world, featuring hundreds of performers, both human and animal. This version of the circus show, known by the title Forest Code, cost over 1 million yuan to produce. Soaring aerial acts, motorcycle stunts, and the flaming Hot Wheels of Death goad the audience into oohs and ahs. The last night is spent at the Dolphin Hotel, a 5-star accommodation perfect for a much-needed rest. It's been quite a trip. So much was packed into 5 days. A visit to the historic and cultural past of Hanoi, a voyage amid the rock cliff islands of Halong Bay, a journey through the culinary highlights of Vietnamese and Cantonese cuisine, a safari of rare and exotic wildlife, a showcase of death-defying acrobatics and artistry, and a vacation in the lap of luxury.
Guilin is home to the Guilin International Conference and Exhibition Centre.
We're here for the China ASEAN Expo Tourism Exhibition. It's a great opportunity to check out the brilliant tourist attractions across the whole of China, as well as what the ASEAN network has to offer for every tourist across the world.
This colossal structure has an exhibition area of 23,000 square metres and is one of the most famous in the country and plays host to national and international events throughout the year. Guilin is the perfect setting for the exhibition, itself a destination blessed with an abundance of tourist resources. The spirit of the conference is to enhance friendly relations and tourism cooperation between China and the ASEAN network, as well as the world beyond. The theme of the conference is developing tourism in the 21st century in the Maritime Silk Road. The show promotes global tourism resources, focusing particularly on those of the ASEAN countries. It combines international, domestic and local tourism trade shows all under one roof. The show is a great place to learn about the sheer width and breadth of the tourist destinations across the whole of China. There are exhibitors from numerous provinces and cities. The expo also showcases Guangxi's indigenous ethnic culture, commodities and prime tourist attractions. Learn about China's rich heritage, the fine artwork, sample the local food, and witness the many cultural performances throughout the exhibit. China is such a large country, and with its size brings an unparalleled level of cultural diversity. Some of the exhibits are extremely interactive, and I think she's on a mission to get everyone to join in.
That was absolutely crazy. I had no idea whatsoever what I was doing. I kept on trying to escape because everybody was watching me, just make a fool of myself, and sexy girls kept on pulling me back in and keeping me hostage. But it was great fun. It was something special, that's for sure.
As the Asian Silk Road once connected the countries together, the China ASEAN Expo Tourism Exhibition does much the same, facilitating the exchange of tourism across the west to the east and beyond. One of the central hubs of culture and history in Guangxi is Guilin, which resides in the east-west of Guangxi. mountain in the north, flows down Guilin into Yangshu and beyond. Tourists flock in droves to take to its waters. The view of the riverside constantly shifts from shrouding mists which give the area a magical quality to being illuminated by brilliant sun and open skies.
We're cruising down the River Lee and taking in some of the breathtaking past scenery all around us. Some of the rocks are some very unusual shapes, and for the people who have vivid imaginations, you can imagine all sorts of strange animals and creatures. Can you talk us through some of the highlights of the river?
Yes. You know, the first one actually we will see on the river, that will be a hill.
The hill?
At first, when you look at the shape of the hill, that looks like the hat of the emperors.
Hats of an emperor.
In ancient China. That's why we named the hill Crown Hill.
Crown Hill.
Then at the foot of the hill, there's a cave. We call the cave Crown Cave.
Yep.
And there's an underground river in the cave. And sometimes on the rainy day, you do see two different colors. So in the cave, it's like green color.
Green water coming out.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, in the cave. But on the river, if it's raining, and you can see the river will be like a golden color.
Oh, wow.
We call it golden color. It's
Got the
brown,
golden
yeah.
river.
Yeah, golden river is brown color.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
There are many sights to behold along the journey. A lone horse and rider captured on the rock face. The mountain the canvas, nature the artist. Further downstream, different pigments, contrasts and textures interplay to create a giant mural depicting the infamous 9 horses. The horses in a myriad of different poses, with some more elusive than others. Local legend has it that if you can see all 9 horses, then you will become president. However, that's a little easier said than done. From ancient past through to the present, the river has served as an inspiration for many poems and great works of literature. The picturesque scenery is also depicted on the 20-yuan bill. The river meanders and weaves through enchanting sceneries and timeless vistas. Guilin by road. Liaoshui is home to the Museum of Grotesque Rock. The building itself is as interesting and as fascinating as what is contained within. The museum houses a vast array of rocks of every conceivable size, colour and shape. Colossal stones shaped by natural processes wow the crowds, which are drawn in to appreciate the natural artworks. Giant monoliths dwarf all that come to see them. It's like entering a different world. Ripples of rock like molten candle wax set into place. See plants frozen in time, preserved for eternity. A window into the prehistoric past. It's amazing that something as inanimate as rock can elicit such a wide range of emotions, from curiosity to awe. As one imagination expands, the natural form of rocks metamorphose into all manner of living creatures, people and things. A giant turtle craning its neck perhaps. Other stones are more akin to traditional paintings, the veins in the rock capturing oriental landscapes with sweeping hills adorned with trees. While many other rocks would not go amiss in a modern art gallery, one can easily become lost roaming the museum for a great deal of time, trying to make sense of the strange and unusual shapes and forms. Not only has geology created epic scenery in the surrounding areas, but has obviously worked its craft equally impressively on a smaller scale. Continue the journey south further still to Dunlop. The natural geology of the land has given rise to spectacular landscapes throughout the Guangxi region. And in Daxian County, the ideal conditions in geology combine with the unrelenting forces of the river to form the fourth largest waterfall along a national border. Datian Falls sit astride China and Vietnam. The jade-colour river marks the border between the two countries. The water slices through the land to create these inspiring waterfalls. The pounding water can be heard from far away. As spectacular as they are from above, they are even better appreciated from close up. Descend down to the riverbanks to board the bamboo raft to get even closer to these marvels of nature. As we cruise upstream, to the left we are in Vietnamese territory, to the right we are in Chinese. Vietnamese traders frequent the waterways, selling their airs and graces. Of course, bartering is part of the process and expected. All manner of curios and items are available, from ointments to heal your ailments, to bracelets and other souvenirs. The three sets of cascading falls form a picturesque portrait of unprecedented splendour. The falls are beckoning us closer and closer. We can get so close to them, within touching distance in fact. The waterfalls are quite spectacular, and from the falls usher forth a cool refreshing breeze, powered by the action of the falling water, and drives cool misty spray everywhere. The misty spray is a welcome respite from the hot sun, leaving one rejuvenated and feeling alive. Feel the fresh air, gain a sense of peace and relax. the river, followed by a pleasant walk through the rural countryside. Board the bamboo ferries and embark upon a tranquil journey along the river's waterways. Taking the magnificent karst scenery as you glide gently down the river, while being surrounded by lush riverbeds filled with vegetation of verdant green, where dappled light pierces through to create a charming viewing. Relax, one with nature, and take in the sounds and sights of the countryside. Along the waterways, be treated to an ensemble of native songs and music. As well as see boatmen frolicking in the river. Eventually, all good things must come to an end. And we have come back full circle to Minji Village, where you will be transported back to the ancient way of river life as you walk around the traditional housing, see the ancient tools, and catch echoes of a distant past which harkens back to simpler times. Guangxi is a place imbued with natural splendour and beauty, culture and heritage, a kingdom of treasures just waiting to be explored. From waterfalls to rivers and breathtaking karst scenery all around, Guangxi will have you in a state of awe for a long time to come.
Believed to be one of the cradles in which early civilization took root, China, with a land mass of 3.7 million square miles, is a vast spectrum of landscapes, waters, wildlife, and people, all comprising its history, culture, and beauty. that is perhaps a far grander and fascinating world that is China.